Will artificial intelligence take all of our jobs or just some of our jobs? Or will the increased productivity that artificial intelligence enables allow us all to be more prosperous, more goods and services with less work? I'm Dr. Bill Connerly. I connect the dots between the economy and business. This is my second video in the series AI and the Economy. Today I'm going to talk about the big picture, job loss in general, and in later videos I'll address specific sectors that will be more impacted, other sectors that will be less impacted, and some of the challenges we'll have implementing it. So, the big picture, are we going to lose all of our jobs? It's worth keeping in mind that we once had about 72% of the workers involved in agriculture. That number is now a lot lower. Now we have less than 2% of employed people and self-employed people working in agriculture. So 72% to less than 2%. Do we have 70% unemployed? Obviously not. So what happened there was we ended up with greater productivity, and the people whose jobs were eliminated on the farm, they moved to places like the cities where they did industrial work. So we've seen a number of technological changes. The farming mechanization is one, the Industrial Revolution is another, the computerization of business in the 50s, 60s, and ongoing is another. And in all of these cases, we have found that we've not ended up with massive unemployment. We've ended up with greater prosperity because the amount of goods and services that we in a society have to consume depends upon how much output there is per hour worked. And AI and other technologies enable us to be more productive, meaning we can have more stuff with less work. But it's not always that simple. Sometimes there is technological innovation that leaves some people behind. You may have heard of the Luddites. These people were weavers in England who destroyed machines that were becoming more productive and taking away their jobs. So those people were disadvantaged. But there's another side to the story. Paul Harvey, the old radio announcer, used to say, "And now for the rest of the story." But with the Luddites, the rest of the story actually began a little bit earlier. So back in the old days, producing fabric required thread and weaving. The thread came from spinning wheels. People, mostly women, would put wool and cotton into a spinning wheel. Out would come thread. And for a long time, thread was the limiting factor. The spinners were always busy. The weavers were more or less busy depending on how much thread there was. Then there was a guy, Arkwright, who developed a technology to connect a spinning wheel to water power. And with the spinning wheel powered by a water wheel, all of a sudden thread was abundant. Thread became cheap. And at that point, it was the weavers who were in short supply. Weavers' wages went up, and they had about a generation of prosperity before the same water power technology that enabled them to be prosperous took away their jobs. And we've seen this throughout history. Technological innovation tends to raise the average productivity, the average welfare, but it does leave some people behind. There are ways that those people who are left behind can mitigate the problem. One way is to move. Those farm workers move to the cities, especially in the industrial Midwest. And when people are willing to move from one place to another, they are more likely to have less harm from the technological change. Also, developing new skills is important. Back in the 1990s, there were COBOL programmers used to big old mainframe computers whose skills were not as relevant in a world of the internet and microcomputers. They could retrain or not, depending upon their preferences. Some people don't want to move from their place. They don't want to leave friends and family behind. Some people find it difficult to learn new skills, especially when they're not sure that they will be compensated. So there are going to be some people who choose not to move, not to learn new skills because they value something else more than money. And we're going to have winners and losers in any society. The magnitude of the total impact depends on how much we as a society try to cushion the harm of technological innovation. We can provide a social safety net helping those people who are worse off, and it would make more sense if we could somehow transfer some of the gains from those who are benefiting to some who are hurt. The challenge we have in implementing that policy is that the tax and transfer approach has disincentives. The most productive people, when they are faced with higher taxes, tend to work a little less, and that may be less overtime, it may be retiring earlier. And the people who get the transfer payments, the people who we are protecting, have less incentive to learn new skills, less incentive to move, so there are disincentives. There is a classic book on the subject written by Arthur Okun called Equality and Efficiency, The Big Trade-Off. Arthur Okun said that transferring money from the rich to the poor is like carrying it in a leaky bucket. The amount of money that ends up in the hands of the poor is less than what is taken away from the rich because of those disincentives. So this is a judgment that societies around the world are going to have to make about the AI as technological change, but we also make it on a wide range of other issues that lead to some people being wealthier and some people being poor. Let's review the benefits of artificial intelligence. There are some that we have not yet achieved, but we do know that computer programmers are much more efficient. There's some estimate that they are twice as effective if they have ChatGPT or some other artificial intelligence to help them. Customer service is being helped in many cases. We've all been on the phone with customer service where we were getting the wrong answers. Artificial intelligence will help along the way. We're not fully there, but it can be there. In healthcare, artificial intelligence is being used to help physicians and nurses fill out charts for greater accuracy and timeliness. Also, there are alerts being given to providers about drug interactions and other complications that the patient may be feeling. So far, we don't have anything that I've heard about that actually is better than a good physician or nurse, but it can be quicker and it could be less costly to get the information through an artificial intelligence system. There are going to be more advantages coming as the use of AI spreads throughout the economy, and it's worth asking, is this going to benefit people? Is it just going to mean that those who are making money make even more money, their profit margins go up? Well, it turns out that most technological improvements benefit the great mass of consumers. Nobel laureate economist William Nordhaus did a study on this, looking at, hey, when there's a technological innovation, how much of the total benefit accrues to the inventors and the early producers, and how much to consumers. Let me read what Nordhaus said. Most of the benefits of technological change are passed on to consumers. So when I see the potential for improved productivity, I first think, oh, consumers are going to be better off. Eventually, the labor saving that's involved and the better quality that we have in the production of goods and services will accrue to consumers. However, it's not the case that everybody is going to be better off. There are going to be some people whose jobs are lost or whose pay goes down, and somehow we're going to have to live in a society with some losers from this technological innovation, even if the rest of us are winners. I'm Dr. Bill Connerly. I connect the dots between the economy and business. I also produce a newsletter once a month in graphical format. I'd love to share it with you at no charge. It's a 60-second summary of everything you need to know about the economy, and you can subscribe to it by hitting this QR code. I'm Dr. Bill Connerly. Thanks for watching.